What's up, fight fans? This week in the world of MMA has been absolutely wild, from Paulo Costa and Darren roasting the MMA Guru, to Alex Pereira pulling off a prank that had everyone talking, to Conor McGregor somehow ending up in a battle against dinosaurs. And that's just scratching the surface. We've got legends being praised, champions left stranded without opponents, and rumors of a UFC fight card at the White House of all places. Yeah, you heard that right. So buckle up, because this ride is going to be fast, chaotic, and full of surprises. Let's start with the internet drama that had fans split down the middle. Paulo Costa and Darren teaming up to roast the MMA Guru. It all began when Guru, who's built a reputation for his blunt takes and unfiltered commentary, tweeted out an open invite to play Call of Duty Black Ops 2 Zombies. He tagged big names like Darren, Paulo Costa, Paddy Pimblett, and Renato Moicano. According to Guru, the video would easily pull in 400,000 views. He even joked that Moicano would probably complain about having to buy the first door in the game. Costa was the first to clap back, and in typical Borrachinha fashion, he didn't hold back. Instead of talking video games, Costa fired off with, "The only invite I'm accepting is to a pool party packed with Latinas." It was classic Costa, playful, cheeky, and guaranteed to go viral. But then Darren jumped in, and that's when the friendly roasting spiraled into something way more brutal. Tore into Guru, calling him fat, smelly, and annoying. He even went as far as warning Guru that he'd get strangled in the street if he didn't stop running his mouth. Savage. Of course, Guru wasn't gonna let that slide. He fired right back, mocking Till's looks, his nose, and even his fight record. He dropped a line saying Till deserved a statue in Liverpool for his IQ, complete with knives sticking out of it. Fans couldn't believe the level of savagery. At this point, the back and forth turned into a full-on war of words, with fans split right down the middle. Some loved the banter and thought it was hilarious, while others felt it crossed the line into unnecessary trash talk. But one thing's for sure, whenever Costa and Till are involved, chaos follows. But this wasn't the only thing stirring online. In the middle of all that drama, Alex Pereira decided to remind everyone that he's not just a terrifying knockout artist, he's also got a mischievous side. In his latest viral clip, Pereira set his sights on Renato Moicano. The prank was simple but perfect. Pereira called Moicano, pretending to have a serious conversation. If you know Moicano, you know the guy's fiery personality makes him the perfect target for this kind of setup. The video shows Pereira dialing him up, speaking in a calm, serious tone, only to flip the script and prank him out of nowhere. Moicano's reaction was priceless. Pure confusion followed by the realization that he'd just been trolled on camera. Fans loved it, and the clip spread like wildfire. It's little moments like this that remind people fighters aren't just warriors inside the cage. Pereira might be one of the scariest strikers in the sport, but outside of it, he knows how to keep things light, and the internet eats it up. Meanwhile, on the more serious side of the fight game, one former champion is looking to reignite his run toward gold. Robert Whittaker, the former middleweight champ, has set his sights on Sean Strickland, and he wants the fight to happen in Sydney. On his MMA Arcade podcast, Whittaker laid it all out. He believes this fight makes perfect sense right now. Neither man has the belt, but both are firmly in the mix as top contenders. For Whittaker, this matchup is the clearest path back to the title picture, and he's pushing hard to make it happen. Whittaker said point blank that he wants to fight in Sydney next February, and Strickland is at the top of his wish list. But here's the catch: Strickland doesn't exactly have the best relationship with Australia. From past visa issues to a shaky rapport with the government, there's no guarantee Strickland would even make the trip. Still, if the UFC pulls it off, this would be a massive fight. Strickland's chaos and unpredictability matched with Whittaker's technical precision, fans would be all over it. And while Whittaker is chasing Strickland, another big name is left chasing something else entirely, an opponent. Charles Oliveira, the former lightweight champion, has been in limbo ahead of UFC Rio. Originally, he was scheduled to headline against Rafael Fiziev, but after Fiziev pulled out with an injury, Oliveira was left scrambling. Immediately, names started flying around: Mateusz Gamrot, Renato Moicano, Benoit Saint-Denis. All of them publicly expressed interest in stepping in, but according to Oliveira, the reality behind the scenes was very different. When it came time to actually sign a contract, those same fighters who looked hungry in the spotlight didn't seem so eager anymore. In an interview with Brazilian media, Oliveira vented his frustration. He suggested that while some contenders were talking big in public, once the UFC actually reached out, suddenly there were excuses. Gamrot, though, wasn't having it. He quickly fired back on Twitter telling Oliveira, "Respect Charles, but I told the UFC straight, I want to face you in your own house. This will be a true masterclass on the ground and I'm ready to prove it. I hear you're worried about my style even though you had a full camp. I had none and I'm still ready. 2 weeks left, no excuses. Let's do this." For Oliveira, the timing couldn't be worse. After his knockout loss to Ilia Topuria, he's desperate to redeem himself in front of his home crowd. And with UFC Rio approaching fast, the pressure is mounting. And speaking of champions, Daniel Cormier just made one of the boldest claims yet about his former teammate. On a recent podcast with Aljamain Sterling, Daniel Cormier got emotional talking about Cain Velasquez. Cormier said he truly believes Cain could have gone down as the undefeated greatest heavyweight of all time if it weren't for the endless injuries that derailed his career. He described Cain's insane work ethic, a guy who came from nothing, willing to push himself past all limits. According to Cormier, Cain would do anything his coaches asked, no matter how extreme. If the strength coach told him to leg press 800 pounds, Cain would just do it. No hesitation, no complaints. That constant grind, though, eventually broke his body down. Injury after injury piled up, robbing fans of what might have been the most dominant heavyweight run in UFC history. It's one of those heartbreaking what could have been stories, because in DC's eyes, no one could have beaten Cain if he'd stayed healthy. But Cormier wasn't just looking back on the past, he also had some wild ideas about the present, and they involved Jon Jones. In a surprising twist, Cormier urged Dana White to let Jon Jones fight at the White House. Yes, the White House. Now, if you've been following the news, you've probably seen the rumors of a historic UFC card taking place right on the White House lawn, and Jones, never one to shy away from spectacle, has been pushing hard to be part of it. Cormier even said he's never seen Dana so firm about holding back Jones, which only adds fuel to the speculation. But it's not just Jones. Other fighters like Aljamain Sterling, Corey Sandhagen, and Merab Dvalishvili have all said they'd love to be on that card. Imagine that lineup. And then of course there's Conor McGregor, because where there's chaos, McGregor isn't far behind. McGregor has already staked his claim, saying he wants to headline the White House event against Michael Chandler. He says the fight is locked in mentally, and he's already predicting a first-round knockout. Dana White, for his part, confirmed that conversations with McGregor have been positive, though nothing is official yet. But McGregor wasn't done there. He also found himself at the center of one of the most ridiculous and hilarious internet debates of the year. A viral Instagram reel imagined 1 million Conor McGregor clones battling 10,000 Tyrannosaurus Rexes. Absolute chaos. By the end, nearly 3,700 T-Rexes were taken down, but every single McGregor clone was wiped out. McGregor himself shared the video, laughing at the absurdity of a million mini McGregors throwing hands at dinosaurs. Fans went crazy debating who would actually win, with some insisting McGregor's cardio would doom him before the dinosaurs even got involved. This is what makes MMA culture so unique. It's not just about real fights, it's about wild hypotheticals, crazy rumors, and fighters embracing the chaos. So let's recap. Paulo Costa and Darren Till roasted the MMA Guru into oblivion. Alex Pereira pulled off a hilarious prank. Robert Whittaker called out Sean Strickland for Sydney. Charles Oliveira is still hunting for an opponent. Daniel Cormier reminded us of Cain Velasquez's lost potential. Jon Jones is lobbying for a White House fight, and Conor McGregor, well, he's fighting dinosaurs now. If this week proved anything, it's that in MMA, the fights inside the cage are only half the story. The drama, the banter, and the pure unpredictability outside the cage are what keep fans coming back for more. So let me know in the comments, who do you think would win, 1 million McGregors or 10,000 T-Rexes? And if the UFC really does pull off a White House card, who should headline it? Don't forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and stay tuned, because in the world of MMA, the next big shock is always just around the corner.